What are those bright spots that appear when we observe the sky? Do you remember when you were a child and thought that by closing your eyes, you could see inside your own body? The notion was astonishing, and your curiosity to know the internal composition of your organism and discover its secrets was immense. However, no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't achieve it, as our eyes require light to form visual images, and when you closed them, this possibility completely vanished. Although it may have been discouraging at that moment, in reality, we have been looking at a portion of the inside of our eyes all this time without realizing it. However, how does this happen? Well, have you ever noticed tiny objects in motion when you look at the blue sky or a bright white surface, like a computer screen? Some of them may appear as circular or oval shapes, while others are small dots moving swiftly in various directions. However, every time you try to focus on them, they vanish from your sight. At this point, I trust that you've remembered the phenomenon I describe and are trying to witness it again. If for some reason you haven't done so yet and are thinking, this must be a joke, I invite you to go outside to the blue sky and see it for yourself, as it is a real phenomenon. Alright, once you've remembered and confirmed the existence of these phenomena, what exactly are we witnessing? And why did I mention that this involves, to some extent, a kind of insight into our body's interior? We'll start by discussing the tiny luminous dots that move in wave-like patterns in multiple directions at close distances, only for brief moments before fading away and being replaced by others. What you are witnessing is, in fact, the movement of white blood cells along the narrow blood vessels located in front of the retina of your eyes. Due to the size of white blood cells, the narrow blood vessels in the eyes have dimensions suitable for these cells to pass through. At some point, this leads to some red blood cells following them, forming a kind of line of cells traveling through the blood vessels. Therefore, when we look at bright surfaces like a computer screen or the blue sky, the light entering our eyes interacts with this line of blood cells and allows us to see them. This is entirely normal and represents a fascinating effect known as the entoptic blue field phenomenon or Shearer's phenomenon. As for the circular, oval, and filamentous shapes that display less movement and can even change their appearance, they are known as floaters, or, in Latin, muscae volatantes, and more formally as myodisopsias. In this scenario, what we are seeing are objects floating in a gel-like fluid that maintains the shape of the eye and is located between the lens and the inner surface of the retina, which is the light-sensitive part of the eye. In this way, these floating elements cast a shadow on the retina that our eyes can perceive when looking at bright surfaces. These structures can be accumulations of proteins, red blood cells, or even fragments of tissue that move with the motion of the eyeball. Observing this phenomenon is normal and is part of the natural aging process. It is usually not a cause for concern unless these elements are numerous or large, in which case it is advisable to consult a healthcare professional.